Yo, hello, boys and girls. Thank you for stopping by the John and oh, wait a minute. John and Nilly's here. Hello. Thank you for stopping by the Massachusetts Beer Reviews channel of YouTube. My name is Thomas Metal 75. That is John and Nilly from John and Nilly. Go look him up on YouTube. And this is a special edition. It was supposed going to be a malt liquor Monday, but we all don't have malt liquor. So this is a macro Monday. The theme still pretty much works. Yeah, shooting the shit on a Monday. Why not? Eric Lyons fan kind of is the brainchild of Malt Liquor Monday, but he couldn't even join. So Macro Monday it is. So for Macro Monday, John and Illy has what? Good sir.
I've got Bud Ice.
There you go.
I bought a 12-pack the other day for $9.99.
Sweet. I am enjoying, maybe I'm enjoying the malt liquor today. The store, Natty Daddy. There you go, 8%. Nice. Big old 25-ounce can. The store that I went to, I should have gone across the street to get better selection, but I went to this little package store, a.k.a. Packies in the Boston area, as we like to call them. The only 40-ounce beers they had, I believe, were Budweiser, Natural Ice, and Miller High Life. Now, that was just kind of strange. I could have brought one of those malternative Four Loko nonsenses, and I went, you know what? I see two malt liquors. I see me some Steel Reserve, out of the question. And then Natty Daddy, it's a little... It's definitely a higher quality malt liquor. I'm just going to try to tell you this, folks. 211 Steel Reserve, it's lighter fluid.
That one's pretty rough. If you're not used to malt liquor, that's not a good one to start with.
And as our good buddy from Louisiana, Jay Terriot, would say, yeah, apparently we've never tried the 6% version then, because they make so many different variants of a lot of malt liquors with varying ABVs, and apparently in certain markets there's not only just our 8.1% Steel Reserve, but there is a 6%.
I actually get the 6% here.
Okay.
If I'm going to drink something with that flavor profile, I'd rather just drink the 8.1.
Sure. Get the true malt liquor experience. So
you've had Natty Daddy, right?
I've had Natty Daddy, I couldn't tell you how many times, 3 or 4 maybe in my lifetime. The first time I drank it was on a Jay's beer review channel there, the Louisiana Beer Reviews. And it was really not that great and stellar. And I had not really thought since that it was that great or stellar. However, look at that one little dancing, it looks like snakes in there. Anyways, I've had this a few times in the past, but over some of that time drinking it, I do find that this is actually one of the more palatable 8% malt liquors.
I just had a high gravity malt liquor yesterday. I thought I had one more, but I didn't. This one's kind of a rarity. It's I can get it at one store in between Atlanta and Noonan. It's the Old English High Gravity 800.
Okay.
It's kind of like a hidden gem.
So what is your, I'm sure we've talked about this before, but as of today, tell the audience of 2 viewers, hello, what your thoughts and going into drinking some Bud Ice is today.
My experience with Bud Ice is pretty good. I remember when I first started drinking it years ago, the clear bottles used to be skunky, but that doesn't seem to be a problem anymore. And of course, it's not going to be a problem out of the 12-ounce can. But I've always enjoyed Bud Ice. It's a really good ice beer, and ice beers and malt liquors actually have a lot in common. I mean, they're very similar in the in taste. A lot of times, standard malt liquors and ice beers are right around the same ABV. So not too different, other than the the brewing process where you get those ice crystals and skim them off to get a higher alcohol beer versus just the, you know, higher malt and higher alcohol with the malt liquor, but very similar styles. So
tapintoyourbeer.com, for those that don't know, is an AB InBev run website, and it gives you the information for virtually any region that InBev products in Anheuser-Busch are sold. So for the United States, they have our almost the nutritional facts, if you will, pretty much, and the ingredients and a little commercial description about the beers here. So we both have Anheuser-Busch. It'll work for us today. Yours there says it is 5.5% alcohol, 121 calories per 12 ounces, 4 carbohydrates, and 0.8 protein. Water, corn, and or dextrose syrup, barley malt, and hop extract. They say it is the America's first draft beer to be ice brewed.
right.
All right. So without further ado, you can dive right into some Bud Ice and start saying.
All right, yeah. Long day at work, so I'm definitely excited to get into this beer.
Let's just cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, there's a malt liquor.
Yours seems to have a lot more carbonation than mine. There's not really too much going on. Yours almost looks like champagne.
Yeah, mine is. Yeah, mine almost looks like a snow globe with yellow food coloring in it, for God's sakes. It's crazy. But yeah, Bud Ice. How's that treating you? Maybe it's treating you very well on a Monday evening after a first day.
Absolutely. From Atlanta traffic will drive any person to drink. There was an accident on 85 heading, south, and it took me an extra half hour to get home.
Fun.
So that's why I didn't have time to stop and really get a malt liquor. I didn't think I was going to make it, but I just got in. So first beer of the evening, and yeah, Bud Ice is one of my I have a lot of standby beers, but I have, most of them are macros. I usually always have a 6-pack or a 12-pack of, an American Adjunct lager, ice beer, malt liquor, something like that in my fridge, just because, now not the high gravity stuff that you're drinking, but, your standard alcohol variant, ice beers, malt liquors, American Adjunct lagers, just because they're so sessionable, easy drinking, and living in Georgia, it's hot, 275 plus days out of the year. So it's a good style to drink on a daily basis. Good standby.
Excellent. Let's see. If you go on the Natural Light website, they're home to Natural Light, Natural Ice, and the Natty Daddy. So the natural line of the Anheuser-Busch. Big stories call for a big daddy. Yeah, that's what she said. With its 8% ABV, Natty Daddy is a big, bold, and cold handful of fun for any story. So drinking a 25-ounce, 8% malt liquor is, according to Anheuser-Busch, fun. And I suppose that can be true if you're treating it as such and you're not getting too carried away and then trying to get back home from wherever you're drinking this thing. Yeah, be right where I am at your home and drink this.
Right.
8%, 183 calories per 12 ounces. All this is per 12 ounces. So yeah, 25 ounces, do the math. 5 carbs and 1.4 grams of protein. So except for the calories, it's actually really not that bad. If for some reason you're only drinking 12 ounces of this stuff.
Yeah, Natty Daddy is almost like a light, high gravity malt liquor. It's really strange, the specs on it for how much alcohol you're getting. And another interesting thing, I think you probably know this, but maybe the viewers out there don't. Natty Daddy actually had a 6% version that was out for, I don't know, maybe a year, and then it just disappeared. I used to see it in cases at Walmart for like $12.99.
Oh, that's crazy.
Unfortunately, I never got to try the 6%. I bet that was pretty good because I really like the 8% Natty Daddy. So
This, according to Tap Into Your Beer, it has water, corn, rice, and/or dextrose syrup. It could be any one of those adjuncts: barley malt, hops, hop extract, and malt extract. This 8% ABV lager beer is brewed with the same all-natural ingredients as natural light. Well, depending on what kind of a beer drinker you are, that might rub you the wrong way to begin with. Flacco's Beer Reviews. Hello, good sir. You have
How's
a
it going, man?
malt liquor, or as I'm calling this, macro Monday beer?
I didn't get a chance to stop by the store, man, and I just wanted to come hang out for a little bit. But macro leftovers.
There you go.
hey, that works.
They approved. Good thing we changed the name. Yeah, woo.
Yeah, man.
This is the as you were hearing about Natty Daddy. Oh boy. Some stories call for a big daddy.
Nothing wrong with some natty daddy.
Yeah, it's not the worst malt liquor on the face of the planet Earth. I mean, obviously, we're John Danili commented on how effervescent this thing actually is, and it does have a really nice carbonation charge to it. It had a white head that's dyed to just a ring around the top, and obviously golden and see-through. A little bit darker than most malt liquors. And it's definitely sweet barley malt, pale maltiness, papery graininess, sweet white bready notes. It's pretty much sweet, grainy, wet cardboard kind of a lager beer notes. I mean, liquefy a cardboard box in your cellar after a hurricane. That's what it probably smells like.
Delicious. Delicious.
Delicious. But you know what it retains, as far as this being a malt liquor, what it retains that most beers in that style have is that, you know, not indescribable, that distinguishable malt liquor sweetness. That they have to have shoved so much barley malt and use so much of whatever the corn, rice, and/or dextrose syrup it is into the beer, so that it can not only ferment to 8%, and that is definitely coming out in the taste. Lots of malts and grains and dextrose syrup, giving it that sweet, grainy flavor.
Heck yeah, man. If
But
I would have had,
it's still still a pretty dry beer, and there's nothing really funky in the aftertaste. You just kind of have to like a sweet lager beer. And I guess when comparing it to natural light, as they're trying to do, it kind of does have the same. It's a little bit bigger of a body, but it drinks almost the same as those kind of beers.
I don't know though. If you're a natural light drinker and you drink a Natty Daddy, you might I don't know. I might catch you off guard.
Do you have any experience with the Natty Daddy there, Flacco?
yeah, I do, man. Yeah, I do. You know, and sometimes they have them available here in my Dollar General on
Whoa.
special 15 pack for $7.99.
Holy crap. All right.
They have your choice between the regular and the ice. You know what I mean? So I've tried both, and they slam down pretty good. I mean, they're lawnmower beers, like, for sure. They're sweet, you know, real sweet.
Yep.
Crisp a lot. I like the ice one. It's a little bit darker, a little bit more of a full feeling to it, but you know.
You might not want to mow the grass after drinking a Natty Daddy, though. You might end up underneath the lawnmower.
You're right, man. You're right, bro. They're good though, man. You know, when it's $7 a 15 pack, you can't beat that.
That'll get you drunk. Yeah,
Hell
bring
yeah,
that camping, you'll have a good time.
Yeah, you'll have
It's
a good
funny,
time
you
by
know,
yourself.
a lot of people obviously drink the Natty Daddy because originally, I mean, high gravity beers like that you typically don't see in 12 packs, suitcases, but the Natty Daddy is available in 12 packs, and I think you can get it in a case as well. And I mean, that's scary to think that people are buying that stuff and drinking, you know, 3 or 4 in an evening because that'll put you on your ass, you know.
Please don't drive a vehicle. Please don't be that fucking dumb. Just don't do it.
Yeah, man.
Nope. Stay right where we all are in your home, or you're gonna stay the f on that buddy's couch for the night. Yeah, just do that.
Probably be the best bet.
So while we're drinking Natty Daddy and John and Ailey's drinking Bud Ice and Flacco with that PBR, um, do any of you, when you go towards a malt liquor, do you have any sort of preferences or any one particular beer that you normally gravitate towards from the malt liquor category?
Mm.
Yeah. For me, Mickey's, King Cobra, Colt 45, Old English, the standard variants, those are really enjoyable. And then I do like the high gravity stuff as well, but for everyday drinking, you know, give me a Colt 45, King Cobra, something like that. I'm happy. I like the extra, you know, maltiness that you get with the malt liquors. And actually, believe it or not, a lot of malt liquors actually do have a pretty good hop presence. It doesn't necessarily come through on the flavor, but you know, if they didn't put the hops in there, it would just be too cloyingly sweet. So I kind of like I like the fact that they're really malty and you get a lot of sweetness, but it's not overly done to where it's cloying and nasty. Some of the high gravity beers can be like that. We're talking about the Still Reserve 8.1%. If you don't drink that sucker ice cold, it's gonna really be a difficult beer to drink, and it just becomes, you know, really too cloyingly sweet. But the standard malt liquors, like I said, those are the ones that I gravitate towards, you know, 9 times out of 10. And they're, you know, I usually always have a malt liquor in the fridge.
I gotta tell you,
Except for tonight. I drank my last one yesterday. But
Macro Monday. You gotta put these tall cans or 40 ounces in one of these freezer wine sleeves. Keep that sucker ice cold.
I like that. I've never seen one of those. Cool. Pretty cool.
You can get that. You just get them for. It's like those freezer koozies you get for 12-ounce cans of beer. They come in wine sizes too. So yeah, we got fellow viewer J Dot. Hello, J Dot. He is drinking a PBR with you. All right. Blackout. And we got Craig Swenson, and we have one other beer viewer.
Craig, what's up, Craig? Thanks for watching. Yeah, Craig's a regular viewer on our channels. So
now we gotta bring that question right back to Flacco on Macro Monday. What kind of malt liquors do you gravitate towards?
If I'm reaching for a malt liquor, it's probably gonna be one of the 2 OGs, man, the Mickey's or the Old English.
Yeah.
And I'll go for the Mickey's over the Old English before that. You know what I mean? Just something, I don't know what it is, man. It's just something about that one. Yep. I don't know. It's just good, man. I prefer it over the OD. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah, the first time I was able to get the Mickey's malt liquor, I was on vacation in Northern California this past April, and I think John was on the show, and we did it with Tyler Mansell. So that was a really good experience because for macro style blogger beer, I thought that just tasted like good normal beer. It didn't even, it kind of had some sweetness to it, but it didn't even get to the point where it was like Natty Daddy sweetness to it. It just tastes like a stronger Heineken or something. It just had a good
flavor to it. I can drink that one all the way through, like even if it warms up. You know what I mean? I can drink that one all the way through.
It almost had
my best memory
Yeah,
of
almost had
those.
no malt liquor characteristic in my recollection.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's almost it's about as close as you're gonna get to drinking a regular beer, like without having to be all sweet and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it goes and it goes good with tacos, man. There was a corner store right next to this taco stand that I used to go get my 40s of Mickey's from. They used to sell the
Oh,
bomb barbacoa tacos. And you just grab like 3 or 4 tacos of barbacoa and your 40-ounce Mickey's,
that sounds
and you
like a
were at
Friday night,
home, man.
baby. Saturday night,
Yeah, man, you
not a
were
Monday.
at
Oh,
home.
it could be a Monday. Hey, we're doing it now. Let's see here. Where is Jean? Jean said he thought he needed to not join tonight. Maybe no big beers on a Monday, I guess. Says Jay. That was Jay's question. Craig Swenson says he prefers 12 packs of the 8.1 Steel Reserve. Having a 12-ounce a night is a nice way to enjoy that high gravity intensity. A 40 is too much for me. Holy shit, Craig. All right, you're getting shit-faced, man. Jay says Old English is a higher quality than Steel Reserve. And in the taste, I can agree with that. So brings me to my answer to that question. What do I gravitate towards? Old English 800. I think it is not so. Now, I guess in general, not all of these malt liquors are created equal. However, I find that when you go to the lesser amounts of the ABV, you're just not getting the cloying sweetness involved in drinking the beer. Now, there's nothing wrong with the 8%. I have nothing against 8% or a higher gravity malt liquor. It's just that these higher gravity malt liquors just seem to have more concentration of adjuncts and more concentration of the malts to increase its ABV. And as we know from just one-on-one chemistry and brewing, even if we don't know anything about brewing, you have to have enough sugars, you have to have enough fermentables that turn into the sugars, and then it becomes the alcohol. So you got to have enough fermentables that turn into sugar, and then the yeast is going to eat the sugars and convert it into alcohol. So you're going to have enough going on to get it to that 8%, which is kind of what I'm thinking is going on with this Natty Daddy. So I do prefer the lighter ABV malt liquors like an Old English 800. There used to be one, I don't know if anybody recalls this, it was called Heffenreffer Private Stock. Their slogan was, it was the one with the imported taste. It kind of reminded me of Mickey's. It was in a green bottle, and I think they say the one with the imported taste because it practically tastes like Heineken in a 40-ounce, 6% or so malt liquor. So that was pretty good.
I agree with you there. So we got a few people. We got 4 people in the chat now.
That's crazy. Yeah, Flacco. Hello, Craft Beer Pours. Yeah. Yeah, Craig is drinking the Pig's Beer Brown Ale from Woodstock Brewery. Hells yeah. It's a good brown ale from Woodstock, New Hampshire. But I gotta go to John and Illy here. I know time is precious for John. But how's Bud Ice going? Got any thoughts in beer world in your brain? What's going on?
Yeah, Bud Ice, it's very enjoyable. It's a lot like a malt liquor. You get a lot of sweetness. The body is pretty light. I mean, it's 5.5%. So this one is pretty sessionable. It's kind of right at the sweet spot for the alcohol. It's not too much, but it's enough to let you know it's there. It's really good. It's widely available. So, you might not be able to find the Old English high gravity 800, but you should be able to find Bud Ice. And
Sure.
Craig Swinson mentioned the Steel Reserve 8.1.
Yep.
If Craig's still watching, I would be interested to know if you get the 8.1 silver can or if you get the 8.1 black can, the triple export. Both are 8.1%, and they both taste exactly the same, but I've been told that they use different hop varieties, kind of like Magnum and Mickey's. They have the exact same specs, but the Magnum supposedly uses a different hop variety to give it a different finish, but I don't know.
The more you know. Thank you for that information. I did not know that. All right, cool.
I'm soaking up all the knowledge because I don't know much about the malt liquor type of thing.
All I know is Flacco's bringing the people. Good going, Flacco.
Appreciate it, man.
J Dot. I'm calling you J Dot. That's your name. Triple export is better, he says, John and Nilly. That must be.
I would have to do them side, try them side by side. But I mean, when I tried them, they both tasted exactly the same to me. And I've never lived in an area that sells the 8.1% silver can and the black can. It's in the areas that have both the 8.1 and the 6%. The 8.1% is always the black can, and my theory is that the black can differentiates between when they're sitting side by side on the shelf. You can't tell the difference because the cans between the regular 6% and the 8.1% silver can, they're exactly the same.
J Dot says that he's had them side by side. Triple export, still better.
And hey, that's and they could use a different hop variety. I don't know. I'm not convinced though. I'll have to try to pick up one of each and do like a taste challenge or something like that. But
yeah, I don't think I've had that one. The triple export. I don't think I've ever had that one.
Not necessarily. I'm talking about alcohol, but there could be still more of a punch in a bite and more, maybe to Jay, more flavor or something more is hitting them in the right spot, if you know what I mean with that one. Yeah. What I mean, I know you probably reviewed the Bud Ice, but how are you gonna
today? Here, I guess I'll break it down real quick. So, like I said, you get a lot of sweetness on the aroma, which follows through on the palate. It does have kind of like a corn sweetness flavor to it. You're definitely getting that white bread crust in the middle of the sip. It is light bodied, like I said, at 5.5%. You're not picking up on any of the alcohol. It's crisp, it's clean, it's refreshing. The carbonation is nice and prickly. It's closer to the medium side with the carbonation, and it's super refreshing. It's an A ice beer. For the style, it's probably like a 95, 96 out of 100. Overall, for me, it's probably like a 92 or 93. It's not my favorite ice beer. I've had a lot of really good ice beers. I think the Keystone Ice is a little bit better. The Molson Ice is one of my favorite ice beers. That's not super common, but if you can find Molson Ice, that's up there in quality. And then, of course, there's so many Pabst brands, these hidden brands that I like to try, like William Kepley. On your examination the other night, or maybe it was Tyler's, brought the Old Milwaukee Ice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. OM Ice, as it's known on the can.
Right. But yeah, it's a great ice beer, and the sessionability factor is really through the roof for a 5.5% product, which is pretty impressive.
I know Flacco. You just talked about the Pabst examination. I know he was just on a Pabst beer examination, but let's hear it once again from his point of view, live while drinking the beer now. Are you still the same guy when it comes to drinking the Pabst Blue Ribbon as you were on Friday night?
Yeah, man. Pabst, anytime's a good time for Pabst, man. Pabst is always clean, refreshing, tastes good, always has that sweetness to it. But it's just really enjoyable, man. You can't say too much wrong about a Pabst, man. You know what I'm saying? They've been going hard. It says best in America since 1893, man. So just going hard the whole way. I know I saw my peeps in here now, Trish and Craft Beer Pours. So we got more people showing up in here, which I appreciate y'all guys showing support for me. But the Pabst goes down good every time, man. I actually think I'm probably going to do a store run because now that you guys are talking malt liquor, I want some malt liquor, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I might have to go try something new out.
Our great buddy Jay, okay, he explained that good. Our great buddy Jay, I'm calling you J Dot. I still am. He says, try to drink a Steel Reserve dead warm. Yuck.
Yeah.
No, man. Can't do that. I've had Steel Reserve, bro. No way, bro. No way. Even cold, it's hard for me to get it down all the way.
That was the first. Steel Reserve has a horrible history for me. That was the maybe it's a great history. I don't know. It was the first beer that got me drunk, and I remember that in college. It must have been 2009 or early 2010. Now I'm 30 now, so I only turned 21 in 2010. So it must have been 2010. And when YouTube, and not even YouTube, but just when Beer Advocate and sort of beer rating sites and word of mouth on the internet about beers to buy was still kind of a relatively new thing. Something, I don't remember where I went like this and typed into the internet, but something kept popping up going, yeah, if you want to get drunk, go get a 40 ounce of that Steel Reserve. I'm like, all right, fine. I'm 21. This seems weird, me just walking into a store buying a giant bottle and not getting looked at funny. As long as I have an ID, it's not going to be funny, right? They just want my money. Okay. I just remember drinking that whole thing, and the first reaction was, this tastes like melted butter. Ew, this is gross. And then going, oh, the bathroom is up the stairs. How do I get to the bathroom 20 minutes later? Okay, I made it to the bathroom. All right, woo. Steel Reserve.
Yeah, man, it give you the bubble guts for sure, brother.
or as my buddy used to call it, the Bud Muds.
The Bud Muds. It's like $1 something, 24 ounce here.
This was, I forget what I paid for this. I bought a 25 ounce of the Natty Daddy and a 4-pack of the tall pints of Guinness, and it was $9.69. You could do far worse for beers, including it with the Guinness, than $9.69.
Yeah.
I was drink Guinness than this.
I was mistaken earlier. It wasn't the Natty Daddies that I had got at the dollar store for the 15-pack. It was actually the Keystone Lights. I mean Keystones. The Keystone Ice.
Do you get the Keystone Premium?
I'm not sure. This one was all blue. They look like big bold letters like that Natty Daddy, but it wasn't the Natty Daddy for sure. It wasn't.
You think that was natural, or you think that was Keystone Light, John?
Yeah, I think you're more likely to spot a unicorn at the end of a rainbow than to see the Keystone Premium.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one, man. I'll take a picture next time. I'll pay more attention when I go into the dollar store next time because, I mean, they always got it. They always got 2 Keystones and 2 Natties, and I don't know. Our dollar store is cool, man.
So, Natty Daddy. I didn't give my real thoughts today, September 24th, 2018. Live thoughts here. Well, I'm sure if William Kepley was here, he could tell me what the heck that means for a lot code. I'm sure I could find out on one of these websites. I don't really care that intently because this doesn't taste that wretched to me. It doesn't taste like it's some kind of old product, whatever that means. But the only thing I really don't like about the Natty Daddy and some of these higher ABV gravity malt liquors is the sweetness factor. So, like I said earlier, for me to gravitate more towards a Old English 800, the Mickey's was good. I haven't had St. Ides recently. Colt 45 is a little bit on the sweet side, but not quite like this. I think I'm more on the John and Nelly side of things, where for these type of, they're novelty beers. Screw it. This is a novelty product. And that's where it will remain. Come on, it's the big one. What the? Yeah, for these kind of products, I think the ice beers are a little bit easier and more sessionable to drink, or like I said, even the lower ABV ones. So just the sweetness for me is kind of not ruining the beer. It's just kind of a little much, but because it's sort of like trying to brew the natural line of malt liquor, it does have some of that drinkability to it. Now, I will call this a straight up medium style body beer. There is a little bit of a syrupiness to it, so that makes me think it could be the dextrose syrup in there. It's highly carbonated, but it's crisp and clean. So unless the sweetness is making you gag like mad over time, you could down this thing without much effort. Then later on, you're gonna go, "Holy crap! What happened?"
Right.
So Craig Swenson asked, "What's the difference between a garbanzo bean and a chickpea?"
Same thing, just different name. People call them different names. It's the same thing though.
Okay. Never had a garbanzo bean on my face before. All right, Craig.
Garbanzo beans or chickpeas are what they use to make hummus.
Oh.
And I love me some hummus. Hummus is really good.
Said no carnivore ever. Not joking. 99 J dot 99 cents out of the door for a 16-ounce can at the Easy Stop liquor store. I think he's talking about the Genesee Cream Ale. Now that is a great macro Monday beer.
Yes. And I'd really like to try that Genesee Bach. That's another one that's really hard to come by. But
yeah, the Genesee. So yeah, they do a lot of these underground, or not underground beers. They have some more craftier beers that they make, but they make the Bach beer as a part of their normal run of these beers, and they don't. Even in my area where the Genesee beer is really popular, you just don't see that particular beer, for whatever reasoning. But Genesee beers are like $14.99 for a 30-pack. So for the cream ale, and I say this from experience with taste of the cream ale, that is one of the best cheap ass beers you'll ever buy in the market. I know John's hearing this ad nauseum from everybody in the beer community, but I guess if you go to Mobile, Alabama, where John is, he gets cream ale all of a sudden.
yeah, I mean, I can get the cream ale here. You could buy a 30-pack for $13 or $14.99. So it's cheap and it's delicious.
Okay, John is experienced with that beer. Good. Excellent.
I wish I could get it in the singles. I used to be able to buy the 24-ounce can singles. Now I can only buy it in the 30-pack, so I don't drink it as much because I'm not always looking to buy a 30-pack of Genesee Cream Ale. So
not buying it so often. Yep.
No, I haven't seen it, man. I honestly haven't been looking for it either. So I'm about to take a look out for it and see if I can try it out. Just see what it's
I
all
don't
about.
know. I don't recall if the website for Genesee. You'd have to look. My recollection is not very great that they actually have a. No, I take that back. I believe they do have a store locator. They're located out of where they brew is the same place they brew the Narragansett beers, the Dundee beers, the Honey Brown Lager, and if you ever heard of a beer called Pyramid Beers, they brew that. It's part of the Craft Beer Alliance, I believe. But that's actually another good Macro Monday beer. If you've ever tried Honey Brown, that's a Honey Brown Lager. That's a really interesting brew right there.
yeah, I really like that beer. It's a good brown ale or brown lager that doesn't have it's got honey added, but it's just very little, so it doesn't. It's not one of the dominant flavors. It's a very well balanced beer, and it has a lot of similar qualities to like Genesee Cream Ale. It's almost like if you took the Genesee Cream Ale, put a little bit more roasted barley malt, and added a little smidge of honey. That's basically what you're getting.
I'll have to try one. Hey, man, but I got to run real quick, man. Got to go help the wife out.
Cheers.
Good talking to you, fellas, man.
Good talking to you again, Flacco.
Cheers. All right. I don't know if you want to. And I know some NFL football is coming on to American and maybe Canadian television. So I don't know if you have any final thoughts on any of this rousing malt liquor Macro Monday discussion, John and Illy.
Well, I don't know. If you like American adjunct lagers, you've never had ice beer and malt liquor, definitely should check it out. I think, I don't know, the world we live in today, I think most kids growing up, some of their, when they become of age or when they're in their late teens, before they're actually legal, Bud Ice, Milwaukee's Best Ice, Natty Light, Natty Ice, all these beers are going to be some of the first beers that a lot of people try.
Yep.
And honestly, I think, a lot of people, they might not want to admit it because they get into craft beer and kind of frown upon this type of thing. But if it wasn't for beers like this, a lot of people wouldn't have gotten into beer in the first place. Because let's be honest, when you're a teenager, young adult, you don't have a lot of money, and this is going to be the type of thing that you're going to be able to afford, and that 9 times out of 10 you're going to be drinking at your little frat parties and your, after prom and all that fun stuff. So
yeah, that's kind of malt liquor. The last thing you just said there. Yeah. So Natty Daddy is just plain old sweet, which is the only downside to it. And beyond Natty Daddy in the actual product inside of its can, if you're trying to tell me on the Natural Light website that big stories call for a big daddy and a big and bold and cold handful of fun for any story, just calm the F down a little bit there, Anheuser-Busch. I think you might have drank a little bit too much Natty Daddy, and then you got thrown into jail for a DUI. Then you asked for then you asked for your big daddy in jail. Oh no! But malt liquors are they're not. I'm just gonna say that they're not really that great. However, you can always find versions of these styles that maybe aren't your favorite that do suit your taste buds even better. So yeah, this one is just too sweet for me. If you're not into the big sweet cloying ABV kind of flavors to your malt liquors, there's Mickey's, and then there's Old English 800. And I haven't had Magnum recently or King Cobra, but I think those are much more mild of flavors. And as John and Illy did say earlier, with Bud Ice and Molson Ice, you're getting very similar drinking experiences, and with all your other ice beers. So if you're excuse me, if you're low on cash and funds, and for whatever reasoning have never tried malt liquor and or ice beer, I would say try it once in a while. It may not replace your old standby beers, but it's certainly a alternative, and will break you out of your rut. I was watching, I don't know if you've watched this guy on YouTube, John. His name is Ralphie, Ralphie.com. He does all the liquor reviews of whiskeys and spirits from Scotland. I mean, he's a whiskey guy, and he'll go on for 5 minutes to describe an aroma of a whiskey, for God's sakes. But he was reviewing some gin on a review I watched last night, and because he's a big whiskey Scotch drinker, what he said about gin was sometimes it's good to take your taste buds and your palate on a holiday, on a vacation. By that he means, sometimes we like for me maybe New England IPAs. I mean, I'm so familiar and comfortable with those, just like maybe John is really familiar and comfortable with a lot of his standby adjunct lagers, let's say. But it's cool to take a break from those styles that you're so accustomed to, that every time you drink them, you're getting the same aroma, you're getting the same tasting notes, you're getting the same mouthfeel and drinkability. Why not try some things for a week or two, or even upwards of a month, and just get rid of what you're usually accustomed to, and try some other things. And malt liquors and ice beers for the craft beer fan could be a nice deviation from time to time.
Right. Yeah, you should definitely try everything. If you really want to know what you like, you have to try everything. Nothing bugs me more than people that drink nothing but light beer and they don't try anything else, and they're like, "Oh, that's not for me. I don't like that." Well, they have to try it to determine whether or not they like it or don't like it. But there's a lot of people out there that are like that. They like what they like, or they think they like what they like without actually trying the other products out there. So if you're really going to be honest with yourself and know for sure what you like, you need to try a little bit of everything to get the right mix.
Sure. I guess that kind of sums up the evening of Macro Mondays. Sure. We're gonna come back on Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern. I guess it's daylight time here. So it's 8 o'clock now. So we'll see you at 7:30 Eastern time on the East Coast for, I don't think we decided, but I feel like we're gonna be doing just plain old Wild Card Wednesday. Jay Terrio, Louisiana Beer Reviews wanted to do Negro Modelo, which is cool. Most people seemed like another Wild Card Wednesday would be cool. So
was it the Negro Modelo, or was it the Dos Equis Ambar? I thought it was that.
Ooh, I think it might. I think you're right about that, John. Jay might have said the Dos Equis Ambar. Wait a minute, I wrote this down. Dos Equis Ambar.
Okay.
Dos Equis Ambar, I wrote down. So either we do Dos Equis Ambar or Malt Liquor Monday. Either we do Dos Equis Ambar or the Wild Card Wednesday. I felt like Wild Card Wednesday was what most people were interested in doing, so we might as well just do another Wild Card Wednesday. I have some ideas for topics. We can certainly discuss that. Or if we're just having fun doing wild card beers and pick up whatever the hell you want, I am down for that. That's such an easy topic. You buy the beer. You bring it. I tell you nothing. You join, we have fun.
There you go.
Why not? So, Craig Swenson. I did not realize he was the man. You're the man. John Danilli. Yeah. I contacted Eric, a Lions fan for Malik on Monday. He is currently unavailable. So, Macro Monday could be a thing here and there. Kind of cool. So, yeah, the Patriots lost against the Lions. Boo fucking who. And what game are we going to watch coming up now, John?
You got the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I believe.
I think most people in Pittsburgh feel like New England. Very down on their luck about now.
Yeah. Hey, Tampa Bay looks good with Fitzpatrick at quarterback. Jameis Winston might have lost his starting job.
Probably. Although I would think that you're right. I'm walking out of the office at 47 brand. We make the hats and the apparel and all that good stuff. And as I'm walking out of the office this evening, and I'll leave you on that note, ESPN on one of their shows, I can see it on the bottom of the screen, and they're talking about that topic, which is they're already mentioning the fact that New England only after 3 games should be worried about their playoff chances.
Nah, they'll be all right.
Games. I mean, that's
as long as Tom Brady's back down, they'll be fine.
Only after 3 games, and we should be worried about playoffs. Playoffs. Anyway,
yeah. Playoffs. We're talking about playoffs.
You want to talk about playoffs? Right here, baby. We're going to see you, Atlanta Braves, in the World Series. I'm guaranteeing that. And until next time, on behalf of John Danilli and Craig Swenson and 3 others watching, this has been another edition of the Massachusetts Beer Reviews channel of YouTube. Until next time, and I mean this, keep tasting better and great beers. Cheers.
Cheers.
I will see you soon. That's a wrap, and come back on Wednesday night, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time.